What's good, YouTube? Welcome to Pros Only TV. I'm here with a new show today. So I'm going to be doing a lot more analysis stuff on my channel. We're going to call this a top-down view because I always like to take a step back and look at things from a top-line view. What are we looking at today? The European Super League. Huge bombshell that's kind of dropped in football over the last 24 hours. And I just want to kind of give everybody a bit of a breakdown of it, do some deep analysis as to the different factors and things that are kind of plaguing the actual announcement, and just go into it basically. So before we begin, as always, we need everybody to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share it with a friend when you're done. So let's just break it down, man. So obviously yesterday in the afternoon and early evening, there was the announcements of the European Super League. So with that, what is the European Super League? Like, what is it? Like, I think there's been a lot of misinformation, oversharing from different people across social media and in the media. And I think it's been very much confused amongst people. So let's kind of break it down. Like, what is the European Super League? So I've got a definition here because obviously I didn't want to kind of come to this video without doing some background knowledge myself. So I went and did some digging, found some definitions, found out the formats and everything. I'm just going to break it down for you right now. So the European Super League is 12 European clubs. They've agreed to join this kind of new format that's going to replace the Champions League. And the clubs that have joined it are Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, AC Milan, Juventus, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. So they are now going to be replacing the Champions League competition that they were in, or they are in, with this new Super League competition, which is also going to be taking place in the midweek. And these clubs that are in this new Super League will now be continuing to play in their respective leagues. So the league itself, the format of it, it's 20 teams. So obviously there's the 12 founder members, however they're describing it. This is not the purge, so I don't know what this founder member stuff is. But anyway, plus 3 unnamed teams at this moment. There's been a lot of speculation surrounding who it will be. So obviously the German clubs, Bayern Munich and Dortmund, have already decided that they don't want to be a part of this whole thing, because in Germany some of their clubs, they are 50% or not 50% owners, but they have some ownership in their circles, in their clubs, and so because of that, the clubs can't make decisions without the actual owners. So that's one side of it, right? PSG have not been involved in any of these announcements, so it looks as if they're not going to be in it, and I feel like the French government has also sided with that, and they don't want any disruption to the competition and stuff within Europe. So it's 12 founder members, 3 unnamed clubs at this moment in time. A lot of clubs have already decided that they don't want to be a part of it, like Porto, for example, plus 5 qualifiers annually. So these will be coming from the respective leagues, wherever they're going to be coming from anyway. That has to be decided. So these 20 teams are going to be split into 2 groups of 10. And each of these teams will play home and away from each other. The top 3 teams in the actual competition will qualify for the knockout stages, the quarterfinals at that point, and then the 4th and 5th place teams will play each other in a playoff to decide the 2 remaining teams to go into those quarterfinals. And then from the quarterfinals onwards, we see a similar format to the Champions League knockout stages, so basically the 2 legs, and then right up into the final where it's just 1 leg, and then that's it basically. And then in terms of the structure of all of this, in terms of the chairman, it's Florentino Perez, who looks like he's spearheading this. Joel Glazer, who's the vice chairman of all of this as well. And then there's obviously a lot of support with Kroenke at Arsenal, John Henry at Liverpool, who've kind of pushed this thing forward. But yeah, that was just basically a quick breakdown and overview of what this actual thing is, because obviously there was a lot of confusion. People were thinking they were just going to leave their leagues and just go play in this competition with each other, but no, it's like in addition to a Champions League, but now they don't want to play in the Champions League, they want to play in the Super League, and that's what it is. So I mean, that's a pretty interesting concept. I mean, it's a new concept. and we shouldn't be like shocked by this. This is not new in football. Like, there's always been radical types of changes that have been pushed through by clubs, broadcasters, owners and whatnot, throughout football. So basically this is what it is. Like, this is how it has been in football. Football has changed over the years, and these things have happened basically. But in terms of what it looks like to me, it looks as if the Americans are really driving this this kind of change. And then obviously we can break it down into various reasons why they would do that. Obviously they don't have real vested interests in these clubs that they've bought. They're really looking for their money. If I can speak from the Glazers perspective, I'm a United supporter, so I can speak from the Glazers perspective. They've not invested any of their own money into the football club. They spent the club's money that they've been generating revenues since they've been here, and they've been using that to either reinvest into the team or to take out and line their pockets. So when you look at all of this, it looks like it's a money grab. I mean, so obviously we all know that there's investment coming from JP Morgan. I believe it's about £5 billion pounds to kind of start this project up. And when you look at that, it's mind-boggling for me, because it looks as if JP Morgan are laundering money essentially. I mean, I don't know if people remember, there was a story that came out, like, how long ago was it now? Probably last year. It was last year at some point, where some containers were held at a shipping port that were belonging to JP Morgan, and inside those containers was cocaine. Now you wonder to yourself, what's a major global bank shipping containers full of cocaine for? I mean, I could go into like all the other stuff, the conspiracies and all of these types of things, but you know, it looks as if they're washing their money through sport. And that's a very, very dangerous thing now, that we're now using sport as a way to wash away certain negative activities, let's say, right? So, and it's not new. Like, you see some of the countries that have taken charge of football clubs have very poor human rights records, and they're using sport as a way to kind of wash away those kind of negative things that have plague their countries and whatnot. So it's a very interesting topic, and I don't really want to go into too much detail. I just want to stick to this and focus on the European Super League. So I mean, the Americans look like they're driving this, and it looks like they want to try and implement an NBA, NFL style to it. So you never know, there could be a draft imported into this. You could see salary caps. You would see the bigger clubs trying to trade with each other to get the best players playing for different clubs and try and generate interest. In terms of the clubs that are involved, they seem to have made this decision independently of their respective leagues, because after that, the reaction from these announcements, you saw joint statements from the Premier League, the Serie A, La Liga, UEFA. They all came together and said they condemn all these actions. I mean, for me, when I saw that, I was like, okay, something's going on here, because obviously they need to, those respective leagues need to ratify some things. So it looks like the clubs have gone above the actual governing body in Europe, UEFA, to be able to make this decision. They've got the money, or they have agreements to say that the money is coming, and they're just going ahead and doing it without anybody's consent. And so that's led the leagues to say, well, look, we'll punish you. The Premier League, for example, there's been rumours that they're gonna relegate the teams or deduct points from the teams, fine the teams. In UEFA, they're saying that the players that are gonna participate in this will be banned from European and world level competition. And that's interesting, because obviously from the players' perspective, I don't think any of them had any say in any of this. Their clubs have made the decisions, and they have to just you have to work with your employer. If you're working for your employer, like, you have to do what they tell you, basically. So the players shouldn't be punished for this, in my opinion, but that's what UEFA have said as a way, I guess, to try and deter this actually from happening. Now, when you look at this reaction, especially from UEFA, it kind of looks to me as if they've been betrayed, because there's a little bit of a backstory to this. So UEFA have been putting together some reforms that looks like they were trying to announce it this week, and this is probably why this Super League announcement went ahead of these reforms. Now, according to some of the reports, apparently there was some sort of power struggle between some of the top super clubs in Europe and UEFA in terms of these Champions League reforms. So obviously we know that there's going to be more teams, and they want also to evenly distribute the money throughout all levels in Europe. But the super clubs didn't see the reforms as a way to benefit what they were expecting. So they've come up with their new format, which has been in the works for the past 10 years. There's been a video being shared around with Arsene Wenger talking about this, and he was talking about it 10 years ago. So but yeah, they're saying that their new concept is also going to give a high entertainment value, as well as evenly distribute money throughout European football and stuff. So, but I just don't see that happening, because with some of these owners being American, I can see some games being played over in the US. We're gonna have European Champions League style games over in the US. It only makes sense. They have large viewership over there, and that is potentially a way to really broaden the sport in America, where 3 or maybe more, even some, because there may be some other elements, maybe not heads of clubs, but they have investment from Americans as well in some of these top European clubs. So that's a bit mad to think about it. In terms of the club's official announcements, right, there's been it was weird. So last night, probably around 10 o'clock, maybe 9:30, 10, there was different clubs announcing their intention to join the Super League. Now, the only ones I haven't seen yet are Manchester United and Manchester City. I haven't seen them come with any sort of a statement. Every other club, I believe, except for probably Barcelona as well, have made a statement to say that they're confirming their intention to join this league. Now, surely if they've all made the decisions collectively, they would have announced it together as a united front at the same time. But it looks as if some clubs are still deliberating amongst their staff, their people, because obviously some of this has big implications on especially the playing staff, because if they're saying that you can't even play for your national team because your club is participating in this Super League, then obviously I've not been consulted, so I may not want to be at the club anymore. I may want to leave in the summer because I don't want to be able to be banned from playing from playing for my club, for my country. When you look at that, then you say to yourself, but then at the same time, it's where do some of these players go? Because, that lower level of teams, one, they can't afford the wages of some of these top players. Two, where can you really go except for going to another super club? You can't go anywhere. So it's really mad. When you think about all of that stuff. Now, yeah, in this country, it's a bit mad. So Boris Johnson all of a sudden jumps into this conversation, into this whole announcement stuff, talking about, we're going to try and do everything we can with the footballing authorities to try and stop this from happening, and we condemn it and all of this. But you, my guy, need to be going back into your number 10 boardroom, whatever it is, yeah, and sort out this COVID situation in this country, this vaccine situation in this country. Why are you jumping in and trying to get involved in football? It's got nothing to do with you, bruv. The same money laundering that you've been doing, Boris Johnson, is the same thing that JP Morgan is doing right now to try and bring the Super League into light. You do not have a leg to stand on when it comes to anything to do with integrity or a need to change something. No, you sit where you are and deal with your COVID situation. This country the economy is crumbling because of you in it, so leave it out, mate. In terms of the current pros that are speaking up about it, the current pros speaking up about it, it's, for me, it's a bit contradictory, man. To be honest, you saw Gary Neville just really fired up about this. First time I've probably heard him speak directly about the Glazers on live TV in such a manner, right? But he's got ownership in a club, ownership in a hotel. He also profits from football in different avenues, and I can't even speak to say he does things in an ethical standard, because you can't, it's not. It's hard to say in it. I'm not in the know, so I don't know what he does behind the scenes. But for him to come out with that kind of rhetoric, yeah, it's you're contradicting yourself, because I feel for all of us, I think we're all contradicting ourselves, everybody that's talking about it, because at the end of the day, you may feel aggrieved at it, but you're still going to watch the games. We're still football fans at the end of the day. We're still going to watch the game that we like or love, right? And so people are just contradicting themselves right now. I mean, people are coming on TV so furious, and it's you're still going to be working when the broadcasters and that set the games up and they're ready to go, you're still gonna go and do the broadcasting work. You're gonna still be a pundit. You're not gonna boycott. Like, so at the end of the day, it's a part of the game now. Like, people can make decisions, and regardless of whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to do what you need to do. In terms of the actual broadcasters, though, like, the broadcasting situation is pretty interesting. So obviously now the UEFA Champions League has viewership only in the UK with BT Sport. Now, imagine those top clubs now move on somewhere. There's now a new fight for this new league in terms of broadcasting, and you're gonna see people like Amazon, Disney, obviously Sky will try and get involved, because that's the thing. Sky were even they were trying to push out that we're angry, we're furious, this, that, and the other, but they're definitely going to be at that meeting table trying to win the rights and spend stupid amounts of money so that they can show this Super League on TV. Like, so that's what I'm saying. That's why I say everybody's contradicting themselves, because regardless of how furious you are, you're still going to watch, you're still going to participate, you're still going to fuel it. So regardless of your opinion on it, we all need to sit back and wait, because it's not been confirmed in full and agreed fully on all levels, because that's what needs to happen before anything can happen. I mean, we've seen it throughout our history with different elements, right? So if I give you an example, just heading back in the day, you had the old Division 1 and then the Premier League. The money that they wanted to put into the Premier League to create this new top division with 22 clubs at the beginning, I think it was, and then they cut it down to 20, and then like basically everybody would get paid, and they just created a whole structure that would like basically uphold the Football League. So that happened 30 odd years ago, right? And at that time, I'm sure there would have been a lot of outrage from supporters, fans, like all the clubs, the players. There would have been outrage from pundits and all these people. But then it eventually came into fruition and it actually worked. Like, so we need to understand, we need to be able to sit back and see if it's feasible. We need to be able to make sure that every element of it is kind of like okay to do. Like, so people need to really calm down on that perspective. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on footballers now. They're saying the footballers need to speak out, and I've seen some stuff today. Like, I saw some stuff from Ander Herrera, I saw some stuff from Mesut Ozil, but players are talking, but like, I'm sorry to say, like, even they are contradicting themselves, because some of those players, they are really playing football at this point in their lives for money, purely for money. Like, I'm sure when they were children, they would love the game of football, but once it starts becoming a money thing, like deciding where to go and play and all of this, a lot of these players are just really playing for money. This is a job to them. Now, I've seen those players like Ozil and Podence and Herrera speak up and try and speak out against this, but some of those players are the same people that will hold certain clubs to ransom because they're not getting paid the money that they want and try and jump ship. So that's a massive contradiction in itself right there. So for me, when I look at that, I'm like, also you yourselves, you have no choice. If something does go ahead, you're going to either play or you're not going to play, and it's up to you. So they need to calm down on those things. I mean, the biggest losers from all of this, I believe, are the fans, because they have no say in anything, really. It's literally, things get decided and they have to do it. Now, it's already been happening at various football clubs in England and probably around the world, right? Where owners come in and they kind of change things dramatically. We've seen that at Manchester United. We've seen that at Arsenal, where the owners have come in from America, don't really know the game. They come in, they create an environment where they don't care about winning trophies anymore. They want to milk the clubs for all the revenue that they can generate, and then take that revenue, put it into their pockets, whilst leaving the clubs basically standing still. Because Manchester United haven't won a Premier League title in 8 years. Arsenal are closing in on 20 years. Like, their American owners have come in and basically ruined those clubs to the core, and the fans are the ones that are ultimately losing from this European Super League, because it's going to be Europe's elite clubs playing each other home and away in all these kind of these stadiums, right, where they're in major cities: Barcelona, Barcelona, Madrid, London, Milan. You know, they're in these major European cities. Flights to those places are going to be very expensive, especially the airline companies. When all this COVID stuff dies down, the airline companies are going to start throwing their prices through the roof. Fans, and the thing about it is, the normal working class fans going to lose out. Like, the only fans that are going to be going there are not going to be really fans. They're going to be corporate people that will be there to try and like fill the seats. I don't know if they will, but that's what's going to be happening, because a normal working class person is not going to be able to pay thousands of pounds to be doing home and away for these same games. And then, you know, it's just it's crazy. They're the real losers in this, and they've not been considered at all. And I feel like there needs to be a change in terms of the way fans are involved in the game. They shouldn't just be from the outside looking in. I feel like we should adopt a German kind of structure, or of a country type of structure, where the fans actually have stakes in the clubs, so they have to be consulted before decisions are made. I used to work for the chairman of Wycombe, a company I used to work for back in the day. He's the current chairman of Wycombe Wanderers, right? And in their structure, their fans, their supporters group, actually own a stake in the club, so they are involved in decision making. They have general meetings and they speak about what they like about the club, what they don't like about the club, what they want to change, what they want to improve. So we need to be able to adopt that kind of structure in this country. I don't know how it's going to work with these American owners and foreign owners like in charge of these clubs, because they're just saying, we've got money, we're going to do what we want with our toy. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but fans are the real losers here, not being considered. And I believe that a lot of fans are really kind of had enough. And to be honest, the only way that the fans are going to be heard is if they start voting with their feet and not going to the stadiums, and two, stop spending money. Like, stop spending money with these clubs. Their revenues will dwindle, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, one country can't do it. These clubs are global brands, so everybody around the world's got to do it. And is that even possible? Is it feasible? Probably not. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But in terms of what the future of football is, I don't believe that this Super League has turned football into has made football go into disarray. Like, I believe that it's just something new, a new concept that wants to be explored by these top clubs. Of course, greed is involved. There's a lot of money surrounding this, but who knows, in about 10 years time, we look back at this moment and we'd be like, whoa, it's just another normal competition. Now, with this competition, now we're looking at those clubs that now below the top level clubs in each of these countries, they now have an opportunity to play in the Champions League. And so we've been seeing a lot of scenarios where we're seeing West Ham's and Leicester's and Leeds and stuff in the Champions League, and other clubs in the Europa League and stuff. Now, that might bring down the quality of those competitions, and it may also dwindle the viewership as well, because some people may not be wanting to watch those kind of games in the Europa League and the Champions League with those kind of clubs in it. So we have to see about that impact as well. We have to also wait and see if that's even going to be a possibility. But I feel like there's been a lot of knee-jerk reaction. There's been a lot of misinformation. I just wanted to just kind of break everything down so people can just kind of get a little bit of an understanding. So it's a bit of a quick video. But guys, please let me know if you want to see more deep dives, top view down analysis pieces from myself. Suggest some content for me. Don't forget, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow the socials that are coming up next. But this is me, Pros Only TV, Roland. I'm out. Peace.